Good day, YouTubers, and thank you for tuning in to the day's Verdant video on YouTube. And yes, I've still got my computer. It's a new one, of course, and strangely enough, it's actually doing oh so good. But what I've noticed is that there's been a lot of chocolate block of dust so far. And I think it's also nice to know that I'm gonna grab some wipes to come along and clean up a lot of the dust. It's also been a very nice time to clean up a lot of spiderwebs and all the dust bunnies that are pretty much around your house if you've been using things like this around the home. Okay, I found my wipes. Time for me to go ahead and clean that thing right there. You know, with computers, it's fairly something I don't really talk about on my YouTube channel. It's pretty much something, the most basic thing I often tend to do when I'm straightforward cleaning up computers, and as obvious as it sounds, I always seem to do it for every 4 to 6 months. And obviously, I'll tell you what, this computer has actually been doing very well. It's the Dell Optiplex 9020. I'll just be very careful of the on and off switch. And I'm trying to wipe as much of the dust, wipe as much dust as you can see here, because during summertime, the dust can pretty much clog up your computer, and it can also lead to your computer overheating because, well, it's like a piece of cloth. In fact, it's a little bit like fabric. Adding this amount of layer can actually straightforward deteriorate your computer's performance. And I'm giving it a good scrub. Let's see if I can test the disk drive. I don't often use this disk drive that much. It's actually still in very good condition. Remember when disk drives were more automatic, when you just push the buttons like so? It's a bit different when you have disk drives like that. I somehow sort of prefer disk drives when they're more, motorized, I suppose, hey? And more playable in terms of, how much motor, I don't know what I'm saying here. I actually prefer disk drives, you know what I'm saying here, guys? Motorized disk drives, ones which are so automatic, you can just push open and close, or you can just shove the door like so to get it going. And basically, picking off a bit of dust that is sort of in place with, sort of stuck in between quite a lot of these weird hidey holes, very teeny tiny hidey holes. It's kind of like the grill part for the computer. That's actually meant for the grill exhaust for your computer when it gets too hot. And as always, as per usual, when your computer gets really hot during summertime, they'll make a really loud noise, or actually quite a loud fan noise, to extract out all of the heat that's been trapping out of this computer, leading to efficient cooling, or even in this case, an overwhelming duty of cooling down the computer. And let's take a look at the back. More so, it's very dusty on the back there. I would probably recommend to turn off my computer when I'm working right here, but I'm just going to leave it right on and stuff too. Although I have been told once not to actually move the computer that much, because if I start moving my computer, the whole thing might probably shut down, and then guess what? With that being destroyed, well, guess what? I'll have no more computer for another goodness knows how many years will I get. And boy, why do I even get a very weird message like that? It's that bus there. And oh, what's this? Unusual snow, rain and thunderstorms sweep across Australia. Let me click what it takes me to. Oh, okay, that's quite very weird. Thank you, Sky News, for bringing this one up. Oh, that's nice. We've got a picture of snow in New South Wales and Australia. There you go. It's winter time in Australia. There you go. Sort of tells us of why Christmas might be straightforward, be celebrated in June, July, or August. Nothing know about that somehow. I don't know if Sydney has snow right here. I'm actually quite curious if Sydney has snow. I'm quite curious. Let me tell you the weather of Sydney. Oh my goodness. Fairly mild because it's pretty much close to the coast, as obvious as this sounds. There you go. No snow around here, but mainly on the interior hinterland areas of Australia. So in that case, hey, there'll be snow across Australia, as obvious as this sounds. But anyways, we're not talking about what's on the news. What I'm actually talking about is how I clean up my computer. And strangely enough, as obvious as it sounds, my voice is Australian, English, accidentally from the internet, and not straightforward a person who has been moved from Australia to here. Interesting, there's like a little light. I wonder what that white light, which is in the shape of a bin, is meant to be like. Trying to straightforward wipe very carefully because I don't want the computer to be pretty much carked. And there's also a little bit of particles right here which don't need to be part of the computer. And I can wipe just minimal, in fact with minimal amounts of effort. There you go. The computer itself has done a splendid job of looking at itself nice and clean thanks to me. And there you go, I can just wipe one side of it here, and boy, it actually makes it fairly special to actually produce a very short and sharp video to produce on YouTube, because I never thought I'd be talking about my computer. The thing about this computer is that it's also got like a nice looking plug switch thing where you can just take out the cover front of the computer and you can basically work on the internal organs of that computer. I don't think I'm going to do it because the problem with this is that I'm not yet fully qualified to try and do some computer maintenance and that sort of blah blah. But anyways, I'm going to straightforward talk about more about this computer. This computer has actually been spent for about, oh, there's even more dust there. What the hell was I actually not thinking about here? Crockies. Stupid me. Maybe if I take out the USB flash drives, just for a bit of maintenance here. I'm just trying to clear out the radiator grill bits. Some of these bits are interfering with the radiator grill on it, of course. And I think this is only just a very gentle sort of movement right here. There you go, I'm just taking out some of this disgusting bits of, how would you call it, lots of dust and that sort of crap. Taking out a lot of it is a very essential thing to do. I don't need to have more than one wipe. Okay, there's even bits of it right here. I'm trying to get rid of as much as I can. Although some of it is trapped, which can't be taken out. It really depends on what I'm actually clearing out. But straightforward doing a wondrous job at getting rid of most of the particles right here. I don't want to force it too much because, well, it's an electrical item. And it looks fairly nice and clean, as far as I can say, hey. Plentiful amount of cleanness, or cleanliness. But hey, I think that's probably about it. And I tell you what, thank goodness I can only clean up the exterior part. Maybe for another couple of months' time, for about 4 to 6 months. Maybe we might see a bit of an epicenter of how much dust this thing collects. At the moment, it looks relatively fast, and it's actually running on Windows 10. At the moment, I don't like Windows 11. In fact, I hate Windows 11, but I feel like I need to get used to it because, well, Windows 10 is no longer going to be supported on that computer there. In fact, it's going to be a dead duck now. I just hate it. Really. Windows 11, it's just Windows 10, but even worse. But nevertheless, this computer, as you can see here, is a goer, and I feel like I need to go ahead and clean up the monitor right here. Maybe I can do that in another video, hey? But I tell you what, it's a very nice way to come along and clean up some of this dust and all of the nasty bits of whatever that's actually on my computer. But I've actually got some pretty sad news. When I was trying to straightforward show you the birdie toy that I had in my video on YouTube, I actually did try to fix Birdie, but unfortunately what I realised was that his gear actually came off. So what's just happened, I did clean it up with a screwdriver. Let me just unscrew Bertie. I don't know if this toy is still working or not because it had like a leaky corrosion terminal right here. You might quite recall about what I showed you in the previous video. The gear was quite a very lazy, and it looked like it really wanted to escape. And I think what I'm probably guessing is that this gear is meant to go inside here. So there's meant to be like a little area that is meant to be another gear that's actually holding right over within this tiny gear. And you know what, that sort of grinds my gears because that is the sort of thing that needs to power this toy. And the sad part is, none of my screwdrivers are actually very compatible. They're actually very compatible with this Bertie toy here. In fact, if I try and take this out, it's not gonna work. Maybe if someone has got like a very tiny or small screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver, that will be wonderful because I want to get this toy Bertie back up and running again. I think it's fairly simple to say about it, I think. Oh, I don't know if... Maybe I can go and get another Bertie toy. Maybe from one of those weird Thomas and Friends playsets which has Thomas and Bertie on it. Oh, this thing is... What's going on, Bertie? What's wrong with you? Oh. Okay, there's the little screw here that sort of comes out from this toy. Yes, it's a Tomy toy. As you can see, it's from 1995. I did try to fix this thing, but it just doesn't seem to gel with me. I don't think Bertie is going to be straightforward working until by the time on Tuesday night there'll be solutions to be found. And there has to be, because I can't stand on the fact that Bertie is dead as a dodo. Or dead as a duck. Well, I haven't got Tomy Duck with me, but nevertheless, this toy Bertie is very much here to stay. But you know what's fairly interesting? This toy Bertie actually runs well. It actually works well with Trackmaster Road. Look, imagine if this Tomy or Trackmaster Bertie, if this Bertie toy was pretty much working, you know the best part about this toy? It would potentially move. You know, I want to see Bertie actually doing its thing. Wow, if only if I can go and get another Bertie toy. I just wish this gear would actually be part of Bertie. In fact, the gear should actually lie on the top left of his undercarriage, because that is what is meant to power Bertie's wheels. And there's actually a motor inside of him. You know, that would be a wonderful experience to see Bertie the bus doing his little thing. But at the moment, I can't do it at the moment. Anyways, I'm going to leave this video here. Please give this video a very good like. Subscribe for more for that videos in the future. And as always, thanks so much for watching. And bye for now.